Shalom Yasharallah. Shalom, shalom Yasharallah. All praises to Yahweh Mashiach. Indeed, his mercy endures forever. We are your servants from the light of Zion. Welcome to the history class. Shalom Yasharallah. As you are coming in, type and let us know in what city, and in what state you are currently watching us. Type the city and the state where you are currently watching us from. Shalom Elder Marsha. Shalom, shalom, shalom Elder. As you already know, the title of the class tonight is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Shalom, Elder Masha. Shalom, Elder. By the way, Elder, thank you very much. You did a marvelous job last Sunday, Elder. All praises to Yahweh Mashiach. We're going to start with the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Adonai Mashiach, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him. So the Most High commands us to do everything to him via Hamashiach. Why? Why should we do everything to the Most High via Hamashiach? Let's see why we should do that. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Many of our people, especially those that call themselves Old Testament Israelites, they deny Hamashiach. In the world, Hamashiach means nothing. But for us, Hamashiach means a lot. Let's see what Hamashiach said. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Let's see why we ought to do everything and all things to the Most High via Hamashiach. Let's see why. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. The book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Hamashiach said unto him, I am the truth and the light. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Get another mic.
This one has been disabled.
Yeah, the wireless mic is getting charged. Check to see which mic goes through it, and then you can start reading.
Who's it?
Yep. The book of John, chapter 14 and verse 6. Hamashiach said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. For us to have access to the Father, we must go through, and we should go through Hamashiach Yahawashai. Because Hamashiach is the gate. He is the officer at the door who will grant us access to the Most High. The title of the class is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. As you are coming into the truth, you will see that there are many feasts and festivals that we do keep. There are many feasts and festivals that we celebrate. There is a reason for that. We keep these feasts in memorial of something that happened, that the Most High did for us. Let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. Let's see what the Most High commended us through Hamashiach. The book of Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. Verse 6. And ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts, on the upper door post of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. This is the Passover. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is a 7-day feast. The first day is called the Passover. But the entire name of the feast is Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's why for 7 days, we at the Light of Zion, we are eating right now unleavened bread. Anything that we consume must have no yeast in it. We ought to do this for 7 days. Verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to the Most High throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. So the Feast of Unleavened Bread is something that the Most High commended to us. The Passover, the Most High allowed us to leave Egypt. This feast is a 7-day feast where we eat unleavened bread. For those of you who are coming into the truth, you are to eat unleavened bread for 7 days, meaning do your best from the opening of the feast all the way to the closing, eat unleavened bread. make sure that what you are going to consume have no yeast in it. Make sure that what you are consuming has no yeast in it. We are doing this because the Most High commanded us, the Most High Mashiach commanded us to do so. Israel, this is what we should be doing. We are to do our best to make the Most High through Hamashiach happen. This should be our goal. This should be our aim. To be pleasant in the eyes of the Most High. To keep His commandments. Verse 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. That's why before the feast even started, we asked you to put anything that has yeast in your house, to take it out. Put it away. Be in the mind of an Israelite who wants to keep God's laws. Verse 16. Verse 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. So that was the punishment back then. Israel, let us do our best to keep God's laws. That's why we call the title of the class is Israelite 101, Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. As you are coming into the truth, know that there are many things that you will have to learn. You have to understand why we celebrate the Passover, why we keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. That's why you saw that on the 2nd of April, we got together. According to the Most High, the first day, which is the Passover, is a holy gathering. We must get together on the first day. Getting together on the first day is part of the law. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is part of what they call the ceremonial law. Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. Meaning the first day we get together. And the 7th day we get together as well. For us at the Light of Zion, the 7th day will be this Saturday at sundown. This Saturday at sundown, we are going to close the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Those of you who are near, you are invited. We are going to keep it here. The address here is 2937 West Broward Boulevard. All of you are invited. Verse 17. Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So the first day and the 7th day, we ought to do no work. Israel, as we are perfecting ourselves in the law for the Most High, for Mashiach, next year, get the first day and the last day off from your plantation. Let us do our best to keep God's laws. We have to perfect ourselves in the law. Because this is our calling. Let's go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now, the book of Ephesians is a letter that Paul wrote to our brothers and sisters that were in Ephesus. Let's see what he told them to do. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 1. As you are coming in, know that this is the classroom. Type the city and the state where you are currently watching us from. Type the city and the state where you are currently watching us from. The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the other one, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. For us to be worthy of our calling. For us to be up to par to the task that the Most High Mashiach commands us to do. For us to clearly show to the Most High that, hey, we are grateful for the sacrifice that Hamashiach did for us on the cross. That we are grateful to be called Judah, not African American. Levi, not Asian. Simeon, not Dominican. We have to be worthy of this vocation. We have to perform this task very well. Because if you say that, if you believe and you understand that you are a true Jew, you are an Israelite, you have to apply this. The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the other one, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. Our calling is to serve the Most High Mashiach. Keeping God's laws should be our profession. Keeping God's laws should be something that we adhere to do. We must not keep God's laws because we choose to do so. It should be because we ought to do so. Because we must do so. Because we have to do so. Because we should do so. Verse 2, the book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 2. With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, meaning that treat one another with love. Love is the keeping of God's commandments. Show that we are truly brothers to our brothers. Show that we are truly sisters to our sisters. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 1. Let's see what God says. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 1. Let brotherly love continue. Because we love one another. Officer, take a picture, everybody. Shalom. So, because we love one another, we have to show it should not be only in thought, but in action. This is a major problem that we have. This is a major problem that we have in Israel. We love one another in thought, but behind one another, we are saying malignant things against one another. We are using pejorative word or pejorative phrases to describe one another. Let's see what God says. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 6. Because the verb to do is an action verb. Don't just say that you are going to eat unleavened bread. No, make sure you have unleavened bread and that you eat unleavened bread. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Shalom Yahshua, Shalom Yahshua. As you are coming in, type the city and the state where you are currently watching us from.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Outside verse 2. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 2.
Shalom, shalom.
There is none holy as the Most High.
Shalom, shalom.
For there is none beside thee. We cannot compare the Most High with Allah, nor with Krishna, nor to any other power on earth. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 2. There is none holy as the Most High. For, meaning because, there is none beside thee, neither is there any work like our power.
Shalom, shalom.
There is no work like the Most High through Mashiach. That's why we have to be in His good grace. That's why we are to be pleasant in His sight. How do we do that? By keeping His laws. When you keep the feast of unleavened bread, meaning you keep the Passover, and you eat unleavened bread for 7 days, you are keeping God's laws. When you are doing that, you look pleasant in the eyes of the Most High. When you are doing that, you are applying the law in your life. Verse 3, the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Talk no more so exceeding proudly. Let that arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Most High is the power of knowledge, and by Him actions are weighed. So the Most High through Mashiach is looking through your actions. Will you go ahead? 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 3. Shalom, shalom, family. Shalom to all of you who are currently watching. Know that at the light of Zion, we are your servants. We are here to serve you.
Yes.
We are currently observing the feast of unleavened bread. Check to see maybe the
First.
yeah, fix it up. When you are keeping God's laws, you are an applicant of the law. In Israel, we talk a good talk. Oftentimes, we never walk a good walk. we know what God says, somehow we make a detour to stray away from the laws of God. Let's go to the book of First John chapter 5 and verse 3. The book of First John chapter 5 and verse 3. Let's see what the Most High says to us through our Mashiach. First John chapter 5 and verse 3. Now they used to call John the beloved disciple of Hamashiach. The book of First John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High. That's at verse 1. The book of First John chapter 5 and verse 1. Whosoever believeth that Hamashiach is the anointed is born of the Most High. And everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also that is begotten of him. Verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. So if you keep God's commandments, guess what? You will not talk, you will not say pejorative words against your brother. When you love the Most High through Mashiach, you will rebuke your brother, but you will not call him names. Oftentimes we neglect to apply the commandments in our life. We see what God says. We pretend to understand what God says. Somehow, some way, we don't apply what God says. For instance, God says, for 7 days, we are to eat unleavened bread. Meaning for 7 days, anything that we consume must have no yeast in it. If you are doing so, Israel, all praises to our Mashiach. But if you are not doing so, you ought to repent. We are to strive to keep God's commandments. We must do our best to keep God's laws in our life. The book of First John, chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous, meaning his commandments are not hard to keep. The law is not a burden on our back. The law is not a burden for us, Israel. Shalom, officer. The law is not a burden. Let's go back to the book of Exodus. Title of the class is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. So yeah?
Where we at next?
Yeah, Exodus chapter 12.
Check. Check.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 7 and verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever it is that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Verse 20. Ye shall eat nothing with leaven. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. So for 7 days, we are going to do so at the Day of Zion. Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 23. Now, the book of Leviticus, the Most High Mashiach repeats the same thing. That means he is trying to instill this in our mind, in our brain. Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 23. The book of Leviticus outlines or has the high holy days that we ought to keep. Yeah, go ahead. Read.
Start at verse 5.
So at verse 1 and 2 and then 14.
Okay. The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 1.
Read.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel.
No, speak to everybody in the world.
Speak unto the children of Israel.
Speak unto the children of Israel. You are not African Americans anymore. You are not Haitians anymore. You are not Hispanics anymore. You are not Native Americans anymore. You are not Seminole Indians anymore. You are the real Jews. You are the Israelites. Now is not the time to have no self-esteem. Now is the time for our self-esteem to be all the way above the roof. In Israel, many of us have low self-esteem. Wait from the top, officer.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel.
Saying what?
And say unto them, concerning the feast of the Most High.
Concerning the feast of the Most High. Yes. Israel, we have plenty of feasts that the Most High gives us to keep. Why are you keeping Halloween? Why are you keeping 4th of July? Or basically 4th of July, because you are lying to yourself. Because in 1776, because on July 4th, 1776, we were not free. Even after the Emancipation Proclamation, we were not free. We are even free. We are still slaves in America. Even today, we are still slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln signed basically transferred us from being property to the southern states all the way to the property of the federal government. Plain and simple. The Emancipation Proclamation does not make us free. Read.
Concerning the feast of the Most High.
That says concerning his feast. Read.
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
Which we are to proclaim, we have to publish, to make known to all Israel. That's why you can see that many of us did commercial, we did videos to let you know where and when the feast, where the feast will be held and when we are going to have it. We did that because the Most High commands us to do so, Israel. It is about what God says, not about what we want to do. It must be about what God says. Read.
Even these are my feasts.
Yeah, go to 14.
Verse 14.
Yep.
Verse 14. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears.
You know what? We know verse 4. Verse 4. Yeah.
These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocation,
Even holy convocation means that these are gatherings. These are get-togethers. Read.
which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month, at even,
For us, this was April the 2nd. Read.
is the Most High's Passover.
What was it?
Is the Most High's Passover.
We kept the Passover. We kept the Passover. Israel, if you were unable to keep it this year, next year do your best to keep it. If you have to take off from your plantation, do so. When we say plantation, that means your job. Read.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread.
So the entire feast is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The first day is the Passover. That's why we eat unleavened bread for 7 days. We ought to eat the Passover meal is constituted of lamb, unleavened bread, wine, and bitter herbs. That is the Passover meal. That was the Passover meal that we consumed on April the 2nd. Read.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Most High. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
For 7 days we have to eat unleavened bread. Officer, take it, sir. Shalom, Israel. Read. God says for 7 days we must consume unleavened bread. You are new to the truth. If you see something that we are doing that you do not understand, let us know. Ask questions. There is a reason for everything. Read.
In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. In the 7th day is an holy convocation.
So the 7th day is also a set apart gathering. We are going to keep it this Saturday at sundown. If you are in the whereabouts of Fort Lauderdale, you have to be here. The address here is 2937 West Board Boulevard. 2937 West Board Boulevard. We will be here to close the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Read.
Ye shall do no servile work therein.
Now, if you are able to get that day off from your plantation, do so. Read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I gave unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof.
With verse 6 again.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Most High. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days.
So for 7 days, Israel, we are to consume nothing with leaven. For 7 days, we have to eat unleavened bread. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, Israel. This is a good thing. Give me the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. Do your best to be an applicant of God's laws. Do your best to abide by the commandments. Do your best to make sure that you keep your God's commandments to the best of your ability. Read.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11.
Read.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water.
With verse 3.
Verse 3. Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto the Most High. I will sing praise to the Most High power of Israel.
Obviously, we have to sing praises to the Most High power. Many of you refuse to sing. Many of you, it is inappropriate for you to sing. No, my brother, no, my sister, it should not be so. Read.
Go to 11.
With verse 3 again. Okay.
Hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto the Most High. I will sing praise to the Most High power of Israel.
Read.
Yahweh, when thou wentest down out of Seir, when thou marchest out of the field of Edom.
So, the Most High took us out of Egypt marvelously. Now go to verse 11.
Verse 11.
Read.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High.
So what we are doing is nothing but rehearsing the righteous acts of the Most High through our Mashiach. This is what we are doing in Israel. We are rehearsing a righteous act. By eating unleavened bread for 7 days, we are rehearsing the righteous act, a righteous act in the eyes of the Most High through our Mashiach. Read. Put it in the outlet.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel.
Now give me the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14. Title of the class is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Feast of Unleavened Bread 2023 101. What we are doing is nothing but showing to you that we are to keep this feast. Showing to you that, hey, when you are doing your best to keep God's laws, there is nothing wrong with that. Read.
The book of Ephesians,
verse 1.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Adawan, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called.
So it is a calling. In fact, hold that, give me the book of John, chapter 16, verse 15.
The book of John, chapter 16, verse 15. All things that the Father hath are mine. Therefore said I, that he shall take of mine and shall show it unto you.
So this is what our Mashiach showed us. Before he left, he kept the Passover. Before he left, he washed the feet of his disciples. Even the book of John chapter 13, verse 17. Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Read.
The book of John chapter 13, verse 17. If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them.
What?
Happy are ye if ye do them.
So we know that the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the feast that the Most High Mashiach left for us. Therefore, let us stop talking about the feast, but keep the feast. Or talk about the feast and keep it at the same time. What is from the top of this?
John chapter 13, verse 17. If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them.
Now go to John chapter 13, verse 10.
John chapter 13, verse 10. Yahweh shall say unto him, he that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all.
So only the word of God can clean us. John 15 verse 3. Only the word of God through Mashiach can clean us.
The book of John chapter 15 verse 3.
Read.
Now ye are clean.
Now we are clean. Read.
Through the word.
Through the word. Read.
Which I have spoken unto you.
So as you are coming in, type the city and state where you are currently watching us from. Now, jump that. Go to John chapter 13 verse 11. No. Verse 12. Title of the class is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. The Feast of Unleavened Bread is a 7-day feast. The first day is called the Passover. The entire feast lasts 7 days. For 7 days, God says we are to eat unleavened bread. For 7 days, we are not to consume anything that has yeast in it. Any bread that you are going to consume, it must be unleavened bread. Read.
The book of John chapter 13 verse 12. So after he had washed their feet and had taken his garments.
So you saw it. We didn't put it on the video, but we did wash. Some of us did wash each other's feet. We are trying to do what God said. We are doing our best to be a follower of Hamashiach. If I hold that, even the book of Acts chapter 11 verse 26. Now, they call us Christians in a way to make fun of us, in a way to ridicule us. Let's see what God says. Let's see what a true Christian is. Read.
The book of Acts chapter 11 verse 26.
As you are coming in, type the city and the state where you are currently watching us from. Read.
And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch.
The him is Paul. Read.
And it came to pass,
read,
that a whole year,
that for a whole year, read,
they assembled themselves with the church.
What did they do?
They assembled themselves with the church.
No, they stay one stays by on his side saying, I'm not going to be with these N-words.
They assembled themselves with the church.
They stayed together, read,
and taught much people. And the disciples,
what?
And the disciples,
read,
were called Christians first in Antioch.
So they use the term Christian in a way to ridicule us. But a true Christian is somebody who is following Christ. A true follower of Christ will keep the Passover. A true follower of Christ will keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What did they get off each other?
And when he had found him,
read,
he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church.
They assembled themselves with the church. Hold that, Hebrews 10 verse 25. If you are unable to gather together with brothers and sisters, do so via YouTube. Do not stay by yourself. Do not stay by yourself. Read.
The book of Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25.
Verse 24.
Verse 24. And let us consider one another.
Let us consider one another. This is a major problem that we have in Israel. We have no brotherly love. We do not consider one and another. We do not see, we do not execute, or we do not show brotherly and sisterly love one to another. What did they get off his from the top?
Hebrews chapter 10 verse 24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love.
To provoke one another to keep God's commandments. For instance, if you see a brother or a sister has no fringes in his garments, you talk to him or you talk to that sister or to that brother. If he is unable to get fringes for that brother. Get fringes for that sister if he or she really wants it. Or wants them. Or be an example for brothers and sisters to follow after. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. Read it from the top.
And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works.
And to good works. And to good works. To good works. Read.
Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together.
Not forsaking, meaning that do not neglect our get-togethers. Do not neglect our gatherings. This Saturday at 7 p.m., we are going to close the Feast of Unleavened Bread. If you are in town, please stop by. When you do so, you will apply God's commandments in your life. When you do so, you are going to keep God's commandments because God says the seventh day is a holy convocation. The seventh day is a set apart gathering. Go back to where you were in Acts. Oh, sorry, in John. John 13, verse 12.
The book of John, chapter 13, verse 12. So after he had washed their feet and had taken his garments and was set down again, he said unto them, Know ye what I have done to you? Ye call me master and Adawan, and ye say, Well, for so I am. If I then, your Adawan and master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that ye should do as I have done to you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Adawan, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If ye know these things,
we know these things.
Happy are ye if ye do them.
What does that say?
Happy are ye if ye do them.
Happy are us if we do it. It is about action. Wait from the top of this.
If ye know these things, happy are ye if ye do them.
We must do God's commitment. Go back to 1 Samuel 2 and verse 3 again. Let's see what God says.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 3. Talk no more so exceeding proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Most High is a power of knowledge.
For the Most High is the power of knowledge,
and by him actions are weighed.
And by him actions are weighed. So the Most High sees our actions. What the Old Dude says, can I set fire to the lamp tomorrow night after Shabbat? Go back to Exodus 12. Go back to Exodus 12. Give me verse 10. What the Old Dude says, can I set fire to the lamp tomorrow night after Shabbat? That's what God says. Read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 10. And ye shall let...
verse 9.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire.
Roasted with fire. So we roasted the lamb with fire. Read.
His head with his legs, and with the pertinence thereof.
In fact, start at verse 6. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And ye shall keep it up unto the 14th day.
The 14th day, read.
Of the same month.
Of the same month, read.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts.
Now go to verse 9. So read. Go to verse 9.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw.
What? Read.
Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire.
But do what?
But roast with fire.
But roast with fire, read.
His head with his legs, and with the pertinence thereof.
Read.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
Until the morning. What the woman does, you are supposed to do it before the sun goes up, before the sun went up the day after the Passover. Meaning that before the sun went up after the Passover. So my brother, since you didn't know that, just set fire on it. For instance, the rest of the lamb that we had here, all praises to Yahweh Mashiach, I made sure that around 6 a.m. before the sun went up, I made sure that I burnt the leftover. So you are supposed to do it, my brother, before the sun went up that day. Meaning that the day after you celebrated the Passover. So since you didn't know, my brother, set fire on it, and the next time, make sure that you do that before the sun went up, after you celebrated the Passover. Now, my brother, did you understand that? I mean, do you understand it? What did they get official for my dear brother?
Exodus chapter 12, verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
Until the morning, meaning that before the sun went up, you were supposed to burn it. But since you didn't know, now you can go ahead and burn it, my brother. Ask the Most High for forgiveness, and next year we will do better. Go ahead.
Second Passover.
Yeah?
Second Passover.
But
But also the second Passover, if he wasn't with us, the second Passover.
we will not go there. We will not go there. This is what he has now. Go back to John. John 13. Israel, as we are closing the feast of unleavened bread, meaning that tomorrow at sundown will be the last day. Once the sun goes down, it will be the beginning of the seventh day. And when the sun goes down, when the following day, we'll be able to eat anything with leaven. But from now all the way to Saturday, no, all the way to Sunday, before the sun goes down, we are to consume unleavened bread. Read.
Where do you want me to start?
Verse 19.
The book of John, chapter 13, verse 19. Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, ye may live, ye may believe that I am he. Verily, verily, I say unto you,
Read.
he that receiveth whomsoever I send receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him.
Now go to John 13 and verse 14.
Verse 14.
We are to apply God's commandments in our life. We must do what God says. Read.
John chapter 13, verse 14. If I then, your Ottawan and master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that ye should do as I have done to you.
So this is what a true Christian is. A true Christian is somebody who is following Hamashiach. Somebody who does his best to keep God's laws. Read.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Not hold that. Go to the book of John, chapter 12 and verse 44. John 12 and verse 44.
The book of John, chapter 12, verse 44. Yahushua cried and said, He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me shall not abide in darkness. And if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world.
So Hamashiach came to save us. The word is the word of Israel. He came to give us access again. If I hold that, John, Acts chapter 5 and verse 29. Or I don't need to have lamb tomorrow to close the feast. of unleavened bread? Please let us know. All right, my brother. Tomorrow, if you have any lamb that you have left that was not part of the Passover, meaning that you set this to close the Passover, okay, you can eat it tomorrow. But if it was part of the feast, meaning that it was a leftover that was part of the feast, you were supposed to burn it before the sun went up after the Passover. Now, if it was something that you set aside to eat for the closing, that is okay. There is no sin in that. If it was something that you set aside from the get-go to eat for the closing, okay. But if it was not part of the leftover that was part of the Passover, you are supposed to burn it. You didn't know back then, you can just burn it right now and then get it done. Read.
The book of Acts chapter 5 verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said,
What did they say?
We ought to obey the Most High rather than men.
Rather than men. We have to obey God rather than men. Read.
The power of our fathers raised up Yahushua,
Read.
whom ye slew and hanged on a tree.
Read.
Him hath the Most High exalted
the Most High exalted Hamashiach to do what?
With his right hand to be a prince,
read,
and a savior.
And a savior, read.
For to give repentance to Israel.
This is Hamashiach's job. So for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, we are going to close it. We are not going to eat anything with yeast until Sunday at sundown. Until Sunday after the sun goes down. Because once the sun goes down, it is the beginning of a new day. On Sunday, once the sun goes down, the Feast of Unleavened Bread will end. Feast of Unleavened Bread 2023 will end. Go back to Leviticus 23. Israel, let us know how are you keeping the feast? So far, what have you been doing to keep the feast? Let us know, Israel. This is an interactive classroom. Brothers, go ahead. Let one after another. So far, how have you been keeping the feast? Go ahead, Officer Balaka.
So far,
yeah.
I make sure I got my stock of unleavened bread. It's been good.
So is the mic not working?
No, the connection. I believe it's the connection connected there.
All right. Well, I have with me Officer Bonacard. He says that so far he has been keeping the feast. There is no leaven in what he is consuming. In what he has been consuming, this is one good thing, Israel. Make sure that for those 7 days that you consume no leaven. Officer Masamoa, what say you, sir? How have you been keeping the feast? Let the brothers and sisters know.
So, I don't have any leaven in my house.
That's good. All praises to after Mashiach.
And I've been eating unleavened bread every day. My wife, before, she's been finding different ways that she can make different things with the matzo cakes.
Yep,
like she made pizza with the matzo cakes. She made like some kind of dessert for dinner or after dinner tonight. So we've been trying to be creative as far as the things that we eat to keep the unleavened bread and eat the unleavened bread every day.
So all praises to after Mashiach. Our brothers and sisters in the light of Zion has been eating good. What about you, Soldier Amawataza? How have you been keeping the feast so far?
Well, first of all, praises to Yahweh, Mashiach.
That's what my brother. Yeah.
Shalom Yasharala.
Yeah, speak with your king voice, like everybody.
Shalom Yasharala. Pretty much what I've been doing is I've been the same thing, just eating unleavened bread. I've been taking out the leaven out of spiritually as well. You know, been focusing on the precepts. Just thanking the Most High for another mighty Passover, and just trying to stay in the spirit and just enduring to the end.
Of course, so all praise you for Mashiach. So on Officer Amawata's side, he has been doing his best to stay sinless doing his best to keep God's laws. On my part, I have been doing my best to consume unleavened bread every day. Also, I went to a Saturday night restaurant, and they gave me tortillas. So I was not sure that if they put leaven in it, so I had to ask.
Right.
When I see that online, they say that hey, they told me that they didn't put leaven in it, or praises to After Mashiach.
Oh, yeah.
So Israel, we have to do our best to keep God's laws. Now in the chat, those of you who are currently watching, let us know how have you been keeping your Passover, your Feast of Unleavened Bread. What have you been doing? On our side of some others. On our side, we have been doing our best to consume unleavened bread. Shalom. Shalom.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know Israel. Let us talk. I see 14 of you are watching. Let us know how you have been keeping the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What have you been doing? What measures have you been taking to make sure that no leaven is found in what you are consuming? Give me the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1. And that's the spiritual part of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. If I hold that, give me the book of Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. Hebrew daughter, my sister, so far, how have you been keeping the Passover? The Feast of Unleavened Bread. Do you have unleavened bread in your house? Have you been consuming unleavened bread? Let us know. Let us know. This class is an interactive class. Read. If I hold that, give me the book of Hosea 12, verse 10.
The book of Hosea, chapter 12, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
I have also spoken by the prophets,
Mm-hmm.
and I have multiplied visions,
Read.
and used similitudes
Similitude, read.
by the ministry of the prophets.
By the ministry of the prophet. Now, Paul is going to use similitude to show to us that the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the leaven also represents sin. That's what he says. Read.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1.
Read.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not much as named among the Gentiles.
So, when you read the history of the church of Corinth, this church, even though Paul gave himself for that church, where he got money from other churches to help the brothers and sisters in Corinth. The brothers and sisters, they talk bad about him behind his back. In that church, at one point, a brother even took the wife of his father. This church was a wicked church. Read.
That one should have his father's wife. Verse 2. And ye are puffed up.
What?
And ye are puffed up.
No, we are the only one with the truth.
And ye are puffed
If
up.
you are not part of our camp, you are not part of the truth.
And ye are puffed up.
Many brothers in Israel are puffed up. My brother, my sister, if you are able to break down John 3:16, all praises to After Mashiach. If you are able to break down Revelation 5, verse 5, about the Lamb of the Most High, that the Lamb is Hamashiach, all praises to After Mashiach. Read.
And have not rather mourned that he that hath done this deed might be taken away from among you. For I verily, as absent in body, but present in spirit, have judged already, as though I were present, concerning him that hath so done this deed.
So Paul is saying that, hey, will you take an officer?
For I verily, as absent in body,
even though he was absent in body, read,
but present in spirit.
So he was there in spirit, meaning that his mind was on the church. It is the very same day for us. Oftentimes, you may not see us here, but our mind is in here. I have to clean. I have to wash these utensils. I have to set the school in order. I have to wash the tablecloths. I have to make sure there is water for this in the school. Oftentimes, we may not be physically in the school, but our mind is about keeping God's laws. Our mind is on what we have to do for the school. Oftentimes, we may not be among the people, but we are praying for the people, those who are sick, those that we do not know about, those who somehow live the truth, those who haven't seen for years. Oftentimes, we are praying for them, even though we don't see them, but we know what we are praying for them. Read.
For I verily, as absent in body, but present in spirit.
So, Sister Hebrew daughter says, I clean all the leaven out of my house and my temple. I roasted lamb and ate with bitter herbs, and also had a wine. I made unleavened bread that I have eaten every day. My sister, all praises to Allah Mashiach. Read.
Have judged already.
Now go to verse 8.
Verse 8.
Read.
Therefore, let us keep the feast.
Let us keep the feast of unleavened bread. Read.
Not with old leaven,
Read.
neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness.
Read.
But with the unleavened bread,
Read.
Of sincerity and truth.
I mean, just be sincere with your brothers and sisters. Keep God's commandments. We ought to be sincere one to another. We have 10 more minutes left. Israel, let us know. So far, how have you been keeping the feast? What have you been doing? Read.
That's it.
In fact, give me with verse 6.
Verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
I mean, a little sin in the body can cause the entire body to be in sin. A brother comes with the doctrine, before you know it, everybody is following this brother. Hold that, Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 13. This is why we have to be well grounded in the truth. But before that, give me the book of 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19. That's why you ought to be well grounded in the truth. Those of you who are part of the cable industry, oftentimes they tell you that, hey, if there is a node in the node cabinet, you have to ground the node. So that if there is thunder, the node that is providing people with internet doesn't get affected. It is the same way we have to be well grounded. We have to be solid in the truth. Our foundation should be deep in the Most High Mashiach. Read.
2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19.
Read.
We have also a more sure word of prophecy.
Read.
Whereunto ye do well that ye take heed.
So we have to take heed, listen to what God says, and apply it in our life. Jude 1 verse 20. We ought to have a solid foundation. That's why the title of the class is Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Feast of Unleavened Bread 101. Read. Yeah, Jude chapter 1 verse 20.
Jude chapter 1 verse 20.
Read.
But ye beloved, building up yourselves.
What does God say?
Building up yourselves.
Strengthen yourself. Read.
On your most holy faith.
On your most holy faith. Read.
Praying in the Holy Spirit.
Praying in the Holy Spirit. Read.
Keep yourselves in the love of the Most High.
In the love of the Most High, which the love of God is keeping God's laws. Read. Go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 5, start at verse 6. Shalom, shalom, Yahshua. If you are watching, let us know the city and state from which you are watching. The city and state from which you are currently watching us from. The city and state from which you are currently watching. Read.
1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 6.
Read.
Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Meaning a little sin can cause the entire body to be in sin. Read.
Purge out therefore the old leaven.
Leave the old man away. The old man who used to go from 0 to 60 in a wink of the eye, leave that old man alone. Read.
That ye may be a new lump.
For us to be a new Israelite. That's why we started the year with wake up, stand up, and forward. Wake up, you know the truth now. Stand up, you are applying God's laws in your life. Forward, if you falter, you get back up and you move forward. Read.
That ye may be a new lump,
For us to be a new Israelite, for us to have a new mind. Read.
as ye are unleavened.
Mm-hmm.
For
As we are sinless, read.
Or
As
even,
we are doing our best to stay sinless, read.
or even Hamashiach, our Passover,
Mhm.
is sacrificed for us.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness,
Read.
but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
And in truth. All that in the book of Galatians chapter 3. Now, the book of Galatians is also another letter from Paul to our brothers and sisters that were in Galatia. Now, brothers and sisters, know that leaders that are really leaders, they care about your faith. They care about what you are going through. They care about your walk in the truth. Now let's see what Paul said to our brothers and sisters that were in Galatia. Galatians chapter 3. Let's see what he called them. Read.
Verse 1.
3 and verse 1.
Galatians chapter 3, verse 1.
Read.
O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you?
So Paul taught them, somehow they let other brothers, taking them away from the teaching that Paul instilled in them. All that Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 13. That's why Israel, we advise you to watch brothers and sisters that your spirit bears witness with. Brothers and sisters who are keeping God's laws. Brothers and sisters who are applying the laws of God in their life. Read.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 13.
Read.
Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of the Most High.
And of the knowledge of Hamashiach, read.
Unto a perfect man.
Unto a perfect man. Only God's laws can render us perfect. Read.
Unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
In Christianity.
And carried about with every wind of doctrine.
In Catholicism.
And carried about with every wind of doctrine.
So once you are well grounded in the truth, you know what God says, you will not be tossed to and fro. Today, you keep the Sabbath day, the next day, you go to church on Sunday. It makes no sense. Today you are an Israelite, the next day you are an Old Testament Israelite. Today you acknowledge Hamashiach, the next day you deny Hamashiach. Because many Old Testament Israelites, they do not acknowledge Hamashiach. Go back to where you were, officer. Israel, we have 10 more minutes left. Let us know what you have been doing for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. How you have been keeping it. Read. Hold that, drop everything. Give me the book of Psalm 72 verse 1 and then verse 18. Psalm 72 verse 1 and then verse 18. We would like to thank all of you that made Passover through Hamashiach this year a success. Thank you very much for all your donation. Thank you very much for all your prayers, Israel. Know that we are not going to stop. We can't stop and we must not stop. We can't stop nor must we stop. We can't stop nor must we stop. Read.
The book of Psalms chapter 72 verse 1. Give the king thy judgments, O Yahweh.
Read.
And thy righteousness unto the king's son.
Read.
Verse 18.
Verse 18, read.
Blessed be the Most High power, the power of Israel.
The power of our mighty elder, Minister Masha.
The power of Israel.
The power of all the brothers and sisters who are in Highlands County.
The power of Israel.
The power of our Sister Takisha Williams.
The power of Israel.
The power of our Sister Monique. Count your blessings. 7:12.
The power of Israel.
The power of our sister Hebrew daughter.
The power of Israel.
The power of our sister Yakara Blair.
The power of Israel.
The power of our brother Roland Duz.
The power of Israel.
The power of our mighty Captain Kazak.
The power of Israel.
The power of all the brothers and sisters who are in Palm Beach County.
The power of Israel.
The power of our brother Abaya Ben Judah.
The power of Israel.
The power of our brother Radley Powell.
The power of Israel.
The power of the 12 tribes of Israel.
The power of Israel.
The power of our sister Zakia Banaf Adawan.
The power of Israel.
The power of all those who are currently watching.
The power of Israel.
The power of the 12 tribes of Israel. Israel, now is the time for us to be a new breed in the Messiah Mashiach. Now is the time for us to be a new Israelite in the Messiah Mashiach. Now is the time for us to be a new tool in the hand of the Most High to serve Israel. Now is the time for us to move forward, for us to apply God's laws in our life, for us to say, regardless of what comes on our way, to Zion we are going. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Let's add verse 1, then verse 28. Blessed be the Most High power, the power of all the nation of Israel. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Now, the book of Romans is also a letter from Paul to our brothers and sisters that were in Rome. Let's see what he told them. Romans chapter 8, verse 1. Romans chapter 8, verse 1, then 28.
The book of Romans chapter 8, verse 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach Yahushua, who walk not after the flesh.
We are not walking after the flesh. We are not keeping God's laws because we choose to do so. Read.
But after the Spirit.
But because we are commanded, because God commands us to do so. Verse 28.
Verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High.
To them that keep God's commandment. To them that keep God's commandments. Shalom, Israel. Tomorrow at 12, we are going to start the Sabbath service. Once we are done, we will dismiss the congregation to go and prepare what they have to prepare to come back later on at 7 for us to close the feast of unleavened bread. Blessed be the Most High power, the power of our dear Elder Tawabia. Elder, we would like to thank you, Elder, for what you did for Operation Save Passover 2023. In fact, what that with verse 28 again in moments.
And we know that all things work together for good.
For a good read.
To them that love the Most High.
So even though we had some little hiccups in the cooking of the lambs, everything worked well. All praises to Yahweh Mashiach. Brothers, let us read Psalm 133 as we are, while the officer is reading it, we are going to repeat everything. Psalm 133, which is a song of ascent or song of degrees. According to history, they say the priests, they used to sing those songs when they were climbing the stairs of the temple in Jerusalem. Some historians also say that we used to sing those songs when we were on our way to Jerusalem. Psalm 133, while we are reading and repeating that psalm, that good psalm. Psalm 133.
Psalms 133.
Mm-hmm.
Behold,
Behold,
how good and how pleasant it is
how good and how pleasant it is
for brethren to dwell together in unity.
to dwell together in unity.
It is like the precious ointment
It is like the precious ointment
upon the head
upon the head
that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Bahashem,
Hamashiach, Yahawashi,
Tawada,
Samyad,
Amen.
Amen. Let's give the Most High a hand. Israel. In fact, before that, let us read Psalm 102 very quick. Psalm 102. Let us read it very quick. Psalm 102. Psalm 102. Israel knows that every Friday from 7:30 all the way to 8, we have PFI. PFI stands for Prayer for Israel. Read Psalm 102.
Book of Psalms, chapter 102.
Mm-hmm.
Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and let my cry come unto thee.
Mm-hmm.
Hide not thy face from me in the day when I am in trouble. Incline thine ear unto me. In the day when I call, answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as an hearth.
Mm-hmm.
My heart is smitten and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. By reason of the voice of my groaning, my bones cleave to my skin. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I watch and am as a sparrow alone upon the housetop. Mine enemies reproach me all the day, and they that are mad against me are sworn against me.
So this is this psalm. We read this psalm whenever we have PFI, Prayer for Israel. Read.
For I have eaten ashes like bread, and mingled my drink with weeping, because of thine indignation and thy wrath. For thou hast lifted me up and cast me down.
So we read the psalm where we bring Israel, we make requests to the Most High for Israel, for the Most High to have pity upon us. Read.
But thou, O Yahweh, shalt endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations.
Read.
Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion.
And have mercy upon who?
Upon Zion.
Upon who?
Upon Zion.
Judah.
Upon Zion.
Benjamin.
Upon Zion.
Levi.
Upon Zion.
Northern tribes.
Upon Zion.
Read.
For the time to favor her, yeah, the set time is come.
He's come. Read.
For thy servants take pleasure in her stones, and favor the dust thereof.
Read.
So the heathen shall fear the name of the Most High, and all the kings of the earth thy glory.
Read.
When the Most High shall build up Zion,
Read.
he shall appear in his glory.
Watch. How shall he appear?
He shall appear in his
He
glory.
will appear in his glory. Read.
He will regard the prayer of the destitute,
The Most High, through Hamashiach, will regard our prayers. Read.
and not despise their prayer.
Read.
This shall be written for the generation to come.
Read.
And the people which shall be created shall praise the Most High. For he has looked down from the height of his sanctuary.
Read.
From heaven did the Most High behold the earth, to hear the groaning of the prisoners.
This is why we bring our request to the Most High. We ask him, please have mercy upon Israel. Those who are in the pen, please, Most High, deliver them. Those who are sick, please say a word for them. Those who are there in the pen unjustly, those who are in prison unjustly, please deliver them. Read.
To loose those that are appointed to death, to declare the name of the Most High in Zion,
Read.
and his praise in Jerusalem. When the people are gathered together, and the kingdoms to serve the Most High. He weakened my strength in the way, he shortened my days. I said, O my power, take me not away in the midst of my days. Thy years are throughout all generations.
Read.
Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thy hands.
Oui.
They shall perish, but thou shalt
The
endure.
Most High is set forever. Oui.
Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end.
Oui.
The children of thy servants shall continue, and their seed shall be established before thee. Ba'ashim Mashiach Yahushua Tawarat Miyad Aman.
Amen. Israel, we are going to close the feast tomorrow at sundown. Until we have to eat unleavened bread all the way to Sunday before the sun goes down. Shalom Yahshua. May the Most High Mashiach bless you all. Know that we really appreciate, we really thank you for all your blessings toward the Light of Zion. To donate, please do so via Cash App. To donate to the Light of Zion. We have to let you know that we are not going to use your money to buy Bentleys, nor will we use your money to buy jets. We will use your money to further the gospel. To donate to the LOZ, please do so via Cash App. $, do so via $, THEELOZ. $THEELOZ. Israel, we thank you for everything that you have been doing for the Most High through Mashiach. Thank you for everything that you have been donating to the Light of Zion. We would like to let you know that at the Light of Zion, we have a food distribution that we do every Wednesday at 5:30. Shalom Yahshua. May the Most High Mashiach bless you all. Shalom.